Okay, everyone, thank you so much for being here today. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I want us to get really creative. Okay, team. I want us to get super creative about this next batch of tea bags. So what do you have for me? How about the butterfly's breeze is a billowing dream? The mind knows only what the soul reveals. The trees know your secrets. Talk to them in whispers of the sea. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed the soul knows how you touch your toes and the grass grows. You exist in the context of all in which you live
and what came before you.
I'm going to be completely transparent. Yogi tea is actually my favorite brand of tea. However, it is 11 p.m., so I'm having a little drink. This is a tamarind Smirnoff and ginger ale. Canada Dry, of course, duh. I prefer herbal tea to any other kind, and Yogi's just has, I just feel like their blends are creative, but they have that little bit of sweetness. And I recently learned that the owner has a super shady past that Yogi tea has pretty much successfully swept under the rug. When you click on our story on Yogi's website, you don't really see any story at all. The information they provide is super helpful, don't get me wrong, but it's not a story. However, we have Wikipedia. According to them, quote, Yogi Tea is an American brand offering organic herbal, green, and black tea blends. The company is privately held and operated in North America by East West Tea Company, LLC, and Yogi Tea GmbH, which is basically a European legal entity, such as an LLC in the US. I do want to note, though, that the reference to Yogi Tea GmbH for Europe is only seen once. A later part of the Wikipedia article, as well as Yogi Tea's website, states that they are privately owned and operated by East West Tea Company, LLC. They are a B Corp. B Corp is a certification for essentially ethical companies or companies that prioritize things like employee wellness and happiness, environmental and sustainable measures taken by the company. Therefore, public information is available about them in regards to this transparency and sustainable efforts. So that is a good sign. I kind of clicked through some of them and I was like, They didn't actually score super high on some of the things. So I was like, okay. But this is from the Wikipedia page. Quote, Yogi Tea was established in 1984 by Yogi Bhajan, a Kundalini Yoga instructor and purported sexual assailant, whose students named the tea brand. Bhajan formulated the tea blend's original recipe, which is based on Ayurvedic medicine. It consists of cinnamon, cardamom, ginger, cloves, and black pepper. So let's look into Yogi Bhajan. He was born in the province of Punjab, which is now in Pakistan. He learned the fundamentals of Sikhism from his paternal grandfather. I'm skipping over a lot of details because I don't really care. This guy's a serial abuser, so fuck him. Also, he's dead. O.J. Simpson died today. That's when I'm filming this. So in 1968, he emigrated to Toronto. In 1969, he established the 3HO Foundation in Los Angeles, California. That stands for Happy, Healthy, Holy Organization. So he really brought a brand, as I've seen it written, of Sikhism to the West. And at this time, it was super appealing to people because, of course, it's the age of the hippie. They're protesting the Vietnam War. People are growing their hair out already, which is a practice of Sikhism. So he really just like integrated super easily with the hippie culture in the US at the time. I guess in the world, but specifically here. Oh, they were also vegetarians. It's a practice of Sikhism and 3HO. Again, something that a lot of hippies already do. So that's essentially the background of this dude. He was actually a pretty influential person at the time. He even met with Pope John Paul II in Rome, which took me back to seeing Keith Raniere from Nexium meet with the Dalai Lama. And it's like, it's just an important reminder that these figureheads are just that, figureheads. I don't mean to strip away their credentials, if you will, but I'm just saying at the end of the day, they are just people and meetings are organized for them to meet with people, and they kind of can unknowingly endorse harmful behaviors. Throughout the 90s, Bhajan was rubbing shoulders with extremely powerful people, both in terms of wealth and political sway. Oh, by the way, in 1994, the 3HO Foundation joined the UN as an NGO in consultative status with the Economic and Social Council. This is from the Wikipedia page, representing women's issues, promoting human rights, and providing education about alternative systems of medicine. It's going to be a little ironic later on. In 3HO, also I keep wanting to say 303. I'm a vegetarian and I ain't fucking scared of him. In 3HO, they practiced Kundalini Yoga, which you may have heard of. It can be a little controversial, and it's controversial because of its association with groups such as 3HO. It's a very stimulating kind of yoga, and I'll get into that later. So here's the deal. Yogi Bhajan's approach to yoga practice is just undeniably sexist and predatory. He focused a lot on teaching women to be subservient. Bhajan had an entourage of women around him essentially at his disposal. One victim even referred to it as a harem. Yuck. Pamela Sahar Dyson is the former Secretary General of 3HO and one of Bhajan's victims. She states that for a number of years, he was claiming celibacy while essentially manipulating women into being his sex slaves. He straight up taught that rape wasn't even real, that like it had to be invited by the victim. That's the kind of stuff he was teaching his followers. Literally grooming people, vulnerable people, seeking some kind of spiritual answer to the questions of life. Pamela was with Bhajan for 16 years when she finally chose to leave. She speculated that there were at least 100 women that Bhajan had assaulted, which is just so sad because, of course, she pointed out that a lot of these women will not speak up because he kept it covered. And as she phrased it, people were terrified about polluting their spiritual destiny by speaking ill of the leader. Again, yuck, red flag number 5,000. He died in 2004 at the age of 75 after a long battle with diabetes and heart disease. This is so sad, but Bhajan was honored by Congress when he passed. Literally, it was on C-SPAN. He never faced justice, and it's just another reminder of how many powerful people are able to escape justice, and also non-powerful people, but we already knew that. But like Jimmy Savile, for example, just a disgusting serial predator who was never brought to justice. He died before people spoke out because he carried so much influence. And it's just so terrible that, like, I understand why people are afraid to speak up and don't speak up. It's just an impossible situation, especially for people who are kind of brainwashed. Happens in the church too. But you already knew that because you're smart. A lot of people, including one guy who was in the Vice documentary, don't think that Yogi Bhajan can do any wrong, which again, yuck. Honestly, the guy in the documentary who said that too, like, he's so creepy looking. But here's the thing, like, if he was a nice guy, he wouldn't be creepy looking. He would just be like an interesting looking nice guy. But because you're supporting an abuser, like, no, you're creepy as f***. You'll agree with me. So I said we would come back to this. Kundalini Yoga is a super stimulating form of yoga. One practitioner even said it's the get high yoga because the movement really stimulates your nervous system. It includes things such as deep breathing and raising and quickly lowering your arms. So of course, that's going to make you feel like lightheaded. It's definitely not bad, I don't think, as far as like the practice itself. If that's a style of yoga that helps you connect to whatever it is you hope to connect to, or to, even if that's just your body, that's fine. But again, it's affiliated with a lot of problematic movements and individuals. So it's one of those things where it's like the common denominator in a lot of these cases. So I don't know, maybe just stick to YouTube videos when it comes to that. So I mentioned that 3HO is affiliated with Sikhism. However, 3HO is very condemned by Sikhism and the Sikh community. Some have even called it a cult. So I was like, yay. I'm so glad that they have spoken out about it. This is how you keep abusers out of religion, is you speak about it, you call it out. Not just religion, like out of anything, you know, it's abusers, predators, they exist in any group of humans. So rather than being like, oh, let's make the organization so pure that those people don't come in, it's important for these organizations to think about it from a stance of this type of abuse is inevitable. It's going to happen because we have human beings. It's the same with greed, specifically when it comes to money. I think if you don't view an organization that way, then it's destined to fail. It's destined to eventually produce some kind of misbalanced power dynamics. We see it everywhere, down to like companies, governments. So when Bhajan was teaching Kundalini Yoga, he sent his students out into the world. He basically told them, go into these different areas and start ashrams. In this case, an ashram is just a home. Bhajan told his followers to buy homes to create ashrams and to put them in the name of the organization in order to help the tax exemption of property taxes and to ensure that the home is available to future generations of 3HO. So this was a large national movement of 3HO. Like, this vastly grew their following. Bhajan had very specific instructions for how people should live their lives. He even arranged marriages, which resulted in children. And yeah, it's just that classic cult environment that you want to multiply your members within these families, keep them in, you know? So 3HO is one of those cults that is like, we're a religion and we are blessed with so many monetary resources. And that just means that we're so much more committed to God and he loves us more. So 3HO created Yogi Tea and Akal Security brands, which both have a worldwide presence. So Yogi Bhajan controlled Golden Temple of Oregon, which is a natural foods company that built up the brands of Yogi Tea and Peace cereal. At the time of Bhajan's death, these businesses were both estimated to be worth about $100 million. The company was transferred to Kartar Singh Khalsa for $100, sparking lawsuits because people were like, hey, what the f? The cereal division of Golden Temple was eventually sold to Hearthside Food Solutions in 2010 for $71 million. Pretty good. Hearthside was later acquired by Post, who you are familiar with. And then Golden Temple was renamed into East West Tea Company after that sale. The other company, Akal Security, at first they hired 3HO members to guard shops and restaurants. Then it grew to a $500 million a year company protecting public figures and a bunch of buildings in DC, federal contracts. According to Wikipedia, the founders donated the company to the church in 1980. When it says here that they donated it to the church, they're talking about Sikh Dharma International, SDI. Sikh Dharma International is just another name for 3HO. So as far as Yogi Tea's affiliation with 3HO and East West Tea Company's affiliation, or like their owners, I don't know. It seems like it's still connected to SDI, otherwise known as 3HO, but I can't say for sure. It kind of seems like it was created by SDI to exist after Bhajan's death to take over the company, but I don't know. It's privately held. I think they've done a pretty good job of sanitizing their image. Thankfully, since people have come out about Bhajan, it's encouraged even more people to speak out about what they experienced within that lifestyle. So even if people choose to go this SDI route, hopefully the abuse is not what it was with Bhajan. You can only hope. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. This is super interesting to research because, like I said, I love Yogi Tea and I love learning about cults. I'm trying to go for more loose leaf tea, but also I just don't drink that much tea. And I haven't been able to find like a loose leaf version of Yogi's Sleepy Time blend, which is my favorite tea ever. So if you have any recs, drop them in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for future videos about culty stuff. I will see you in my next one. Bye.